Okay, so this is why tariffs are bad. In our scenario here, we have the kingdom and we have the federation. We will ignore this federation because they are communists and they are isolationists and they worship Kim Jong Il. Um, so the federation, they produce a lot of oil and mechanical parts. The kingdom produces a lot of agricultural wares such as food and textiles and stuff like that. They do not have any access, or at least not near the access that the Federation has to minerals and metals that would be required for a agricultural society. So the Kingdom of Ukos got pissed off because the Federation took and said that their king was dumb, and the king implemented a 50% tariff on the Federation of Cantabria. Now, the Kingdom of Ukos has to take and purchase everything from the Federation of Cantabria with a 50% increase in price due to the tariffs that are being levied. The reason why the tariffs increase the price is because it will not be profitable, or at least not as profitable, for a company or corporation to take and import or export an item to a country if that country has a tariff that forces them to pay more to the country they're importing it to. So that price will never be passed on to anybody but the consumer. The only way that it will not be is by being subsidized by the government that is levying the tariffs, and even then, the taxes that would be required from the increased subsidies to the industry affected would still cause an increase in either taxes or deficit, both of which are bad for the country as a whole. So the kingdom is now charging 50% more on the Federation's stuff. So the Federation, because they are not an NPC and they will react because they are human, look at the kingdom and they go like, why the fuck did you do that? Okay, I guess we have to respond, so we're going to impose our own 50% tariff on your exported grain. So the Kingdom of Ukos now has to spend a lot more to export their grain, and the Federation of Cantabria has to pay a lot more to import it. So now the people here are starving because of the reduced exports from the kingdom, and the reduced exports from Cantabria are causing Ukos to lose productivity, which decreases the supply of grain and other textiles and food, agricultural products. You get the gist of it. And that increases the price of them, which means that, oh hey, that 50% tariff that the kingdom implemented on this one country has now conservatively tripled the price of every good coming in or out of both kingdoms, or both countries in this case. Nobody won in this scenario because the kingdom, now that it's being punished by the Federation, can't just remove those tariffs until the tariffs that the Federation levied against its agriculture has been lifted. And the Federation won't lift those until the kingdom lifts its tariffs on its mechanical exports. And that will continue decreasing the efficiency of their workforces and will lead to more economic difficulties in the future, as well as taking and increasing the poverty rates of both nations. As I said earlier, nobody wins in this scenario. I don't know why we can't take and agree that tariffs are bad, and especially a universal tariff on every single thing that has been imported or exported from a country, because I'm not an economist. I think that it's hard to predict an economy. But one thing you can predict about an economy is the negative, extremely negative effect of tariffs on any kind of economic relationship between any country. Even if it was just between the Kingdom of Ukos and the Federation of Glatzian, it would still be devastating if the Federation of Glatzian, for instance, produced electronics for the Kingdom and the Federation. Now the Kingdom has to pay more for electronics, while the Federation gets them at a comparatively cheaper rate. And now we have a country that can sell them for less, absorbing all of the supply of a country who doesn't want to export their goods to a place that is increasing the amount of money they have to pay for their goods to be sold. It is going, it will only benefit the Federation of Cantabria if the Kingdom of Ukos were to take and increase tariffs on the Federation of Glatzian for whatever reason. So, that is about all I've got with this one specific thing. So, another problem is that it leads to a concept called stagflation. Stagflation is a conjugation of two economic terms, stagnation and inflation. Economic stagnation is when a economy does not experience any growth. It does not have any increase in wages. It doesn't take and produce more. It's just stagnant. Inflation is when the value of the the currency that the country is using decreases, whether it be through devaluing by printing more of it, through loss of trust in it, etc., etc. Nobody cares about those details, aside from economists, but they're all fucking nerds. So, stagflation leads to it leads to poverty, is the easiest way to say it, because typically under stagflation, the average pay does not increase, the average wage does not increase, the amount of money circulating in the lower class economy does not increase, but the price of goods increases. So it takes and gets affected by, let's say, this place, the Kingdom of Ukos, is in a massive amount of stagflation. They have let's say, an inflation rate of 10%. They have no growth in their economy because they can't take and import more goods from the Federation in order to take and produce more agricultural yields. So the Kingdom of Ukos now has less productivity, but their prices are increasing. So the workers aren't getting paid as much. So that leads to more or less, well, it's more like people have to be paid the same amount or the prices will increase even more. And that is almost impossible to fix because now that you've got those massive tariffs, you can't just get rid of them because the Federation has tariffs on you as well. And until you both agree to get rid of them at the same time, neither one of you can take and increase the livability of your citizens. It will make life worse for everyone in both countries, aside from maybe like 5 people who are going to be buying billions of dollars of land from farmers and workers who can no longer afford to pay their mortgage or their rent or whatever. So yeah, that is about the 10-minute mark, so I am going to cut it here because now I can put ads on my video.